Welcome everybody to the WBC Podcast. We're going around the table. We got expert opinions combined with expert entertainment and definitely some interesting conversation. So welcome to the family. Appreciate y'all being here.
You're telling the truth.
Hey, so my question is, I know what mine was, but did you guys ever have a reality check where you was like, man, it's a whole nother level of man that's going to
Absolutely.
the NBA?
Yeah.
Did y'all ever have that reality check?
Well, I think more so because I knew that people were better than me. But honestly speaking, when I put in my work, I felt like I could compete with whatever. And I end up showing myself in different times of being able to play, whether it was a facility playing, going against Ruben or Gary Trent or whoever it was, Cliff Robinson, or if it was like the different overseas things I did. I knew what's up when I wasn't making them choices to work out and them lifestyle really commitments. Like, man, nah, they really doing it. Like that's the shit that really intimidated. Even with Ime, when I knew talent-wise I might have more than him, but he's working harder than me. That's intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, someone's putting in more than you. Like, man.
Well, for me, the eye-opening experience for me was my sophomore year in college, where like Bino just said, my goal is to get overseas. We went to
goal.
Hey, we went to Cameroon and played at Duke. When we left there, I said, "There's a whole other level of person that
I remember
that's doing that. That's not me."
That was on ESPN. Didn't y'all lose like 80-30 or something?
80-30. Come on, man.
It was something stupid.
It was like 150.
That was during the time when they was cracking
130-50.
No, that was during the time when they was cracking niggas by 50.
I know, yeah.
Right.
But they didn't crack us by 50 though.
They got us by 50.
It was a beatdown.
They got us by 50.
They got us, but they didn't get us by that. They wasn't getting us like they was getting everybody else.
I remember it being on ESPN. I remember
that.
At the first half,
y'all know I was supposed to go to Florida State.
We went into the halftime. We went into halftime. I don't know.
We was down by it was like 25-40.
And we got to look that up. I want to say it was at least. I want to say like 84-39.
No, we lost by 50.
I feel like I see.
We had 50 points.
They got us by like 30 piece. They got it cracked. They went on by like a 40, 50 piece.
I'm 100% sure it was 50 on the dot.
Okay, what was the score?
It was like 100-50. I'm trying to tell you.
Man. Come on,
but I'm trying to tell you that when it got to the point in the game, you got Chris Burgess, you got Shane Battier. So you talk about when it got to the point where I'm in the game, and no matter, I'm jumping as high as I can, trying to rebound against them. By the second half, I was just staying on the ground pushing.
Different.
Let me just push some cats and see what's happening.
But that was our thing, Haas. We were always undersized.
Right,
no matter what. Right. Like, we ain't supposed to be no big men.
Yeah,
but that's where, again, though, you undersized, but like it's what not necessarily what everybody else just made you do. It was because that's what y'all was doing. Because there was people that was your size and taller that wasn't undersized.
That's where it come in. We didn't work hard enough.
You play the position that you play is what it's all said and done. And because all of us, and this is where when we talk about like what kind of things happen to make you where you didn't make it as far as you want to go or whatever, that whole thought process is that how do you fight for like your career and what position you want to play and all of that stuff, because coaches, what we know about coaches is this, man. If what you doing is working, they finna probably go along with it.
Keep doing it.
If you get out there and you talking about I'm a point guard and you get the ball, and you turning that mug over and airballing, you ain't finna have no opportunities unless you play on a team that your daddy coaching or something like
where
that.
The hard work comes in.
For a lot of us, we didn't have that opportunity. And so when you got to a gym and you're playing, like I think about like me playing on some teams, I go get on a triple threat team, right? On a triple threat team, got Max Antangelo, Tyrone Manlove, Jay Frank. These are the guards. Then they go, okay, the bigs, you got Hazel Wesson playing the 4, Mike Doliak playing the 5. All right, now what position you in the play, Earl? Is you the point guard? I think I can get with this dude, Matt, but on a being straight up, on a professional level and what he did consistently, he was clearly a better point guard. Now you go, okay, all right, that's one spot. It's only 5 of them. That's one of them that you ain't got. Okay, what you finna do now? Are you the 2 guard?
I'll be right back.
You ain't taking me.
I see these 2 wings that we got running the wing. Both of them shooting deep threes and both got hops at about 6'4", 6'5". Okay, you damn sure wasn't playing power forward over Zell, and Dolly's 7 foot. So now what you gonna do? You keep on trying to dribble Matt. I can try to fly higher than Tyrone and Jason. You go, I better try to play some of this defense.
Yeah.
And try to find this, if I want to sniff this court, because this is what's presented. Or you go to another team, and this is what D-Son was talking about when went and played with SEI. Mm-hmm. Then you go to play on the SEI team, total different. I mean, I'm the same human, but I get on this team, and now my game transfer better because I'm getting more opportunities. Mm-hmm. My confidence is different. And so that's why I say, like, when your game don't travel with you, you got to look at your game, because LeBron James, I'm sure when he played basketball, no matter where it's at, for everywhere he's ever played at, for whatever reason, he's been comfortable being him.
Yep.
Period. So, like, if you good enough, or you willing to fight for it enough and do what you got to do, it's one or the other. But you can't not do it and then just be like, well, that's not a part of me. Nah, yeah, that is a part of you, man. Like, you can't pick and choose what arenas you want to take your game in, when we all know that people's looking at your full body, man. They're going like, man, either it's in him or it ain't in him. I'm like, when I played with triple threat, for whatever reason, man, when Howard Avery was there on the side, the ball felt like a weight ball. Yeah, it just was, you could just feel his energy or something. But then I'm like, man, as soon as he left, I'm like, damn, now my jumper feel wet again, man. What is up with this, man? And so I had to look at that. Am I going to give the credit or blame to Howard? Nah, man, the credit or blame is the self. And so if I would have had my game travel with me, it would have been good no matter what. And that's what I say, man, those 2 years where I didn't ball out the way that I know the way that I have played in previous years, that was all self, man. You know,
that's my point, though.
To have confidence in you that you ain't got in yourself, you tripping. Like, you gotta.
That's my point, though. That's where the hard work comes in, because I think even for yourself, if you would have been shooting 500 shots a day, it wouldn't have mattered what the hell Howard said.
That's what I mean.
Like, I know for you, from what I saw and what I knew, you were working hard playing. Like, you would go to the gym all the time and play. But like you said with Beans, you wasn't doing like the skill stuff to individual skill build each individual skill. Like that. Right. That's what I mean about the hard work. Because even though like the game I showed and my body of work is what it is, I could have put in more work. I put in a lot of work. I could have put in more. And then if I put in more, my body of work changes. Like, it could have been a little different. You know what I mean? And for you, like, man, shoot them 500 shots a day. You're an 85% free throw shooter. You're a 40% 3-point shooter. How does that change your career? Already having mastered the defense and the athletic part of being a guard, like that changes your career big time. If Haas would have been able to master getting in shape and then being a guard, being able to play number one, defense, moving your feet, but then being able to play with the ball, you already had like the skill to touch, you know what I mean? And you could have like the post move skill, but having some of those, even like 2 or 3 skills as a guard. Being able to handle and being more of an athlete. Like there's some things you could have did to be more explosive, to be able to maximize what eventually turned in to being a dead-eye shooter. It wasn't that coming up, but what would it took to get that a little bit earlier to where you can now work on your game to change your life? IG, as you were almost like Earl, where as a defender and an athlete, like you had that down. And then you had, I think, a little more floor game where you actually really set people up and played the point on a Chris Paul type of level. But then, offensively, you were challenged at times. Like if you added that into your game and really maximize or put that on the same level of what you were able to do other things at, you know what I mean?
IG, how was your in high school? What was your numbers in high school?
I think my senior year is pretty much when I took off, because I was still playing behind 5 seniors, 6, 7 seniors actually my junior year at Fairfax. My senior year I probably was averaging like 23, something like that, 25. I don't know, but I was more of a shooter in high school, and I knew my transition to the next level, I was going to have to learn how to play point guard. Right. I could handle, but my handle wasn't all the way tight. So it was some things I was working on coming into the level. The thing about my offensive prowess is I remember my freshman year when I got up and, we coming to practice and coming together with all these dudes. I remember when I had a spell when I started missing and motherfuckers would like talk shit, make fun of the mechanics, because when I used to shoot, my elbow used to be out in the early stages. So I remember, and Hodge, this shit, because I took that shit to heart. I started working on my mechanics during the season, which a lot of motherfuckers won't do. Yeah. And I remember bringing that shit in. I used to do a lot of shit. And it was to a point where my confidence offensively was affected because of the peer perspective, the coaches. And I felt like motherfuckers felt some kind of like, oh, he can't shoot or blah, blah, blah. And then so it was funny because, I would have spurts and moments throughout every year, but it wasn't until my senior year. And when I remember looking at the schedule, and I was like, damn, man, this shit is about to be over with. Yeah. And it hit me. I was like, you know what? I ain't going out like that. And my last 12 to 15 games, I was averaging double digits. I was scoring double digits the whole time. You know what I'm saying? It became a thing for me to press the issue. But by that point, it was too late in terms of any real effect. But nevertheless, those things always set me up for the opportunities that follow college. And, just one of those things like now, with being said earlier, I don't feel like it was my thing to go through this to learn to give back. But what I do realize is that I have traveled the road and I learned a lot of lessons and I paid attention to everything. Absolutely. So now as a teacher, as a coach, I'm very, very particular, and I watch for a lot of the small details that I know affect. I understand the importance of putting life into a player that can't do it for himself, or that it will allow him to lose it for himself. You see what I'm saying? Like things that a lot of coaches don't do and they expect and they get mad. Like, you know, when you building or working at development is crucial if you are a coach to know how to maximize. So I just took what I learned from my personal journey now, and that's what I'm doing. But man, yeah, when I saw those lights come on, I was like, man, this shit is over with. I was, you know, you look back and like, damn, why wasn't I doing that shit the whole time?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there was moments like when we was playing at Air Force, Haas, and I think that game I might have hit like 2 or 3 threes, which is, you know, uncommon for me. But right after E-Main went down, you remember I even stepped up my shit then too. It was like one of those things where it's like, fuck, that he was our main dude. And now I know that we ain't got that firepower like that. So it just makes me, I'm hearing Earl, and I'm glad to hear Earl take the self-accountability for his lack of production at whatever time of stage of his career, because ultimately we allow people to affect our energy. And that's something that, you know, maybe it came from single parent, not having that male influence, teaching me this, teaching me that. Maybe it came from the upbringing. Who knows what it was? But I wasn't strong enough at that point to deal with it in a way that was going to be most prosperous or beneficial for me.
Yeah.
And I was always a dude too that didn't want to ruffle the boat, so to speak. It was funny because off the court, I was perceived as that. The Portland State, oh, there go this LA dude. Oh, IG, he crazy, he wild. He always getting into shit. But
on the court, you fitting in.
Oh man, if at the very least, you will put me on and you won't miss a beat in terms of fluidity, chemistry, boom, boom, bam. And if you're looking for that offensive thing, it depends. Then now you making decisions. But that's because I wasn't displaying that consistently, you know, over a course of time. Right. And that's all good. And like you said, D, once you leave college or whatever program that you play for that kind of maybe place restrictions on you or make you feel a certain kind of way, you start playing with a freedom. Mm-hmm. And when you start playing with a freedom, that's when you start realizing, you know, well, it was me. I'm the same nigga that was in that situation. Now, they were projecting stuff and maybe, you know, I'm allowing that to affect me. But at the end of the day, why did that affect me?
Absolutely. And then I think all of us have had a story of shooting and getting psyched out, knowing you could make that shot. But like you said, the teammates saying this, the coaches saying that, the crowd, whatever it is, you get psyched out. But what removes that psyched out feeling is only repetition. The only thing that's gonna remove that is by getting more and more reps to the point where I don't give a damn what y'all say. Exactly. I feel like every one of these is going in.
You live in the habit, the routine.
Mm-hmm.
I